let's talk about what we're all really here for. Training camp is well underway at this point. You've attended the live stadium practices.
Yep.
So I've noticed some things about training camp, good and bad, that I've noticed on both sides. That's always how training camp goes. But I want to ask you, since you were there, what are some things that have stood out to you these past couple of weeks?
Yeah. Well, specifically from the practice that I attended, they weren't in pads. So it's really hard to gauge, especially like the interior, the line play, and especially when the pass rush is holding off because they don't want to hit the quarterback. But the biggest thing that stood out to me was the receivers. The receivers were, granted, and especially in the one-on-one drills, the defensive backs are at a huge disadvantage. The receiver has the whole field. Any route they want to run, they have the whole field, to their advantage. Whereas the defensive back has no, usually they have safety help. They have other, they have the middle of the field is clogged if they're on the outside. So, normally the receiver is going to stay to the outside. So, the defensive backs are in a, I don't know if you saw the viral video of Hamilton getting burnt by one of our undrafted rookie free agents, which was a bad look. But like I said, the wide receiver is a huge advantage in these situations. But yeah, man, there was tons of big plays from our wide receivers, that really stood out. And a lot of the guys, like I said, the undrafted rookies are standing out. Moore, number 10, is standing out. Bateman, I saw maybe the connection between Lamar and Bateman. I saw maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns. No, that's a lie. 2 touchdowns and like one or 2 long plays on the sideline, long passes to Bateman. So I was really excited about the wide receiver play and the connection. And freaking Mark Andrews, like every other pass is going to Mark Andrews, and whenever the first offense is on the field. So it's just like, this guy is just going to have a ton of catches this year again. Him and like, it's good to see that Lamar and Bateman have a connection going on, but nothing's gonna take over the Lamar and Mark connection. He was just getting the ball like every other play. It was crazy. And then another likely the tight end, rookie tight end. There was talks because the stadium practice I went to was the 4th day of training camp. So there was 3 practices before that. And yeah, I'm sure you heard all the talks about likely. He's all over the field. He's catching balls. And I was seeing that at the field too. So I'm really excited about that. And that kind of, I know me and you we've had a lot of conversations on this podcast about maybe we don't need that big free agent wide receiver signing that we were hoping for earlier in the offseason. With these tight ends, unfortunately, the other tight end we drafted has had some kind of issue. Was it his appendix or something? That's the reason he's not on the field. But likely has just, he's standing out big time, making big catches, always open. And maybe he fills that role that we are hoping, that big body receiver we were hoping for. He's basically a big body receiver. He's just a big body tight end that lines up as a receiver. So, that essentially fills in that role. So I'm really excited about our offense and the receivers we have.
Yeah, let's stick with the offense real quick. That's the big thing that stuck out for me too. I was a big proponent about just rolling with the guys we have because I wasn't sure how training camp was going to go. I loved when we talked about our draft wrap up. I loved Isaiah Likely on film. Mm-hmm. I was like, you could line him up outside. You can line him inside. He doesn't give a shit. They did all of that at Coastal Carolina when he was in college. Yeah. And I was like, maybe they fill that role on the outside with him. And wouldn't you know it, training camp has rolled around and he's one of the big names that people have been mentioning on offense, which is amazing. I've seen catches from Rashad Bateman, contested catches that, quite frankly, a previous wide receiver that we had in the building wasn't willing to make. And I've waxed poetic about that particular issue. James Prochet caught a 70-yard touchdown pass. He looks like he's taken a leap. I loved when he came out in the draft too. We picked him up in the 7th round, and I was watching his highlights at SMU. I was like, God damn, dude, if this guy has a pretty high floor, right? All these guys are now clicking. Mark Andrews, of course, he's probably going to go. He's going to catch for another 1,300 yards this season. I don't need to mention him. I'm making a change on this because I hardly ever mention Tylan Wallace. I liked his tape as well. And I liked the things that he could bring. Maybe he gets a bigger role. Devin Duvernay, he had a thigh injury during training camp, but I guess he's back and he got
injured. He got injured at the stadium practice. So
they're doing jet sweeps with him. So that stuff's going to continue. He's looked pretty crisp. Shamar Bridges has looked good. I don't know, man. I am really, really excited about our wide receiver group too. They're making good catches. And it's training camp. I mean, it's certainly different in a game scenario. You're right about that. But as far as just the hands, catching contested balls, Rashad Bateman looks like a number 1 dude for real. And I'm almost wondering if it's better to have a professional relationship with somebody as opposed to somebody being your boy and going out. You know what I mean? It's like, because we know how close Marquise Brown and Lamar Jackson were. And I guess what I'm saying is, like, if the relationship between Rashad and Lamar is all business and not pleasure mixed in with that as friends, it's a professional relationship, I think you may see that pay dividends during the season, because all they're doing is talking football with one another. Rashad Bateman's for real, man. I really like what I've seen with him out of camp. And those guys are going to make Lamar, if they take the leaps that they need to, they're going to make Lamar look better. Which is something that, at him going into a contract year, this is the year where you want to make Lamar Jackson look great. He still doesn't have a contract yet. He's looking, by the way, 70% completion rate, only 2 interceptions so far going through camp. He's looking thick. Apparently he was 205 and now he says that he jumped up to 230. I don't know. He doesn't look like he's 230 to me. He's packed on some pounds though. He looks like he's 220 easily. There was a discussion on Undisputed about whether that hurts him in the long run, because if you've got more weight on you, you can't run as easily, and they kind of want to, that's where his electricity comes from. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I feel like Lamar at this point, this is his 4th or 5th year in the league. I think he knows what his body's capable of doing. I think he's going to be just as explosive as he was. I know that's against like wisdom, and maybe I'm biased here in that sense, but I don't think that like once in a lifetime type of speed and type of wiggle just goes away because you tack on 25 pounds. I think he's prepared adequately for that. But he's throwing the ball great. I mean, this has been his best camp from what I've seen. I don't know. Ben, the receivers are looking great, obviously. And you're right. All these receivers, DK Metcalf just got a huge contract. Deebo Samuel just got paid. Deontay Johnson of the Steelers, he got an extension. I don't know if we need that necessarily.
Yeah.
And I'm liking that because we're running out of cap space to begin with.
Yeah, no, especially when Lamar gets his money.
Mm-hmm.
Our offense, I'm assuming, like we've talked about this before, I think we're going to be focusing more on, the heavy tight end run packages. And the wide receivers are not the number 1 targets in this offense. So why give these huge numbers to a free agent wide receiver when, it's not necessarily the thing that makes this offense go. We need to be paying the quarterback, obviously, offensive line, tight ends. We already paid Mark. We got a hell of a deal on Mark Andrews with him signing early. And our running backs are still on, Gus Edwards is on a small contract. No one pays running backs a lot. So yeah, I think we stay away from paying somebody huge money. And we'll come to that. We'll have to deal with that, 4 years from now when Rashad Bateman's 5th-year option is available 3 or 4 years from now. So yeah, I don't see us spending a lot of money on wide receiver. And going back to the other receivers that are standing out, Jalen Moore, number 10, is looking really good. And Slade Bolden, the little slot receiver from Alabama, 82, he's been all over the field making amazing catches as well. So there's going to be a huge, this training camp, the wide receiver competition is going to be a huge point that a lot of fans, including myself, are going to be paying attention to, because I can see some of the one or maybe, I'd be surprised if 2, but at least one of these undrafted free agent wide receivers making the team, because they're looking, our scouts did a really good job this year of scouting talent that, went under the rug and didn't get drafted. So
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to seeing how this wide receiver core pans out.
Let's talk about a group that's got a lot of question marks too, because this is kind of what makes the offense run. Running back. So J.K. Dobbins got into a little spat with Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network, saying that he would be back for week 1. I'm not so sure about that. Gus Edwards is still injured. You got a bunch of guys. So Corey Clement, who was initially with the Eagles, John Harbaugh personally called him out as being a dog in camp so far. Tyler Beatty, the guy we drafted out of Missouri, is in that room. Justice Hill, still there, still on the roster, fighting for a spot. This is kind of what makes our offense go, right? They're running the football. We highlight wide receivers and we highlight tight ends, but really getting back to the run game is what is going to kind of take us back to 2019. And there are a lot of question marks in that running back room. Is there any chance J.K. Dobbins is ready by week 1? Is Gus Edwards going to be ready? I don't know. It doesn't seem like they've been very, and a lot of teams do this. This isn't just the Ravens, but they've been very coy about talking about a lot of the guys that they have injured right now, right? Like John Harbaugh came out in a press conference and said that Ronnie Staley he's not going to come back until way later in the season. Same with Marcus Peters. They're kind of just taking their rehab really slowly. And then, is J.K. Dobbins going to be ready for the start of the season? I hope so, because I think we need him in this offense. There's a reason we drafted him where we did, and he had a lot of value in the previous seasons that he's played. But I guess the one season, because he tears his ACL and doesn't play last year. But is that kind of concerning that we still have all these question marks with their rehabs? I don't think Gus Edwards certainly isn't going to start early in the season. And the only reason J.K. Dobbins is making noise is because he's really desperate to get back out on the field, but I'm not so sure. And it's kind of got me concerned a little bit.
Well, Ben, I don't share the same concern, because look what we did with Freeman and Murray last year, and a little bit of Le'Veon Bell. Freeman, it took a couple months, but Freeman was, really picking up a head of steam at the end of the year. And so was Murray. Had a really good game that last Steelers game that we unfortunately we lost, but I think last year really proved to me personally that there's a reason why you don't pay running backs big money, is because it's a pretty interchangeable position. If you have a really good offensive line and you have a running back like Lamar who takes eyes off the running back in this offense, I feel like most running backs would have a decent, season in our offense. Granted, J.K. Dobbins is a freak of nature, I think, and he showed in his rookie year, he showed flashes that we're really excited about, and it's very unfortunate that he got hurt last year. And I mean, Gus has been doing it for years for us already, 3 or 4 years before he got injured. And so we know what he's capable of. Obviously, they're the better backs that we have, and we want them on the field. But I'm not worried if they're not ready for the beginning of the season because, like you said, we got Mike Davis, Corey Clement. I was surprised at the stadium practice seeing Justice Hill because he tore his ACL after Gus and JK did. So, I can only attribute that to them letting him come back early because he's fighting for a job,
Right.
They're not as worried about keeping him on the sideline as they are with Gus. And so he's out there. Tyler Beatty that we drafted. So we have, horses in the stable that can, get the job done in the meantime. And I don't want them to rush back Gus and JK. But yeah, it seems like we haven't heard much from Gus, but yeah, JK he wants to be on the field. I don't know if you saw that one video of him cutting and catching a pass, not in pads or anything, but and then the first training camp practice, it was reported that he was like walking up to coach, and you can only assume that he was like asking to play.
Right.
So J.K. Dobbins is ready to play, and to me that I think he may. It's been a year for both him and Gus coming off of ACL. We've seen players come, be ready quicker than that, and I think the Ravens are just being extra cautious, and I don't blame them because of the season we had last year with all those injuries.
I know there's like PTSD that's like hovering over this team. Like I heard about like Tyler Linderbaum, right? Tyler Linderbaum now, he suffered some sort of injury, not a big deal, right? But like they're gonna slow roll him for the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
And I'm just like, when I heard that, I was like, oh God, no, because I made such a big deal about Tyler Linderbaum being drafted, right? Yep. I love this. I love Tyler Linderbaum, right? Yep. And I have like this thing in the back of my mind now where I'm like, any injury that I hear about, I automatically like tense up and I get nervous, and it's all because of last season.
Of course.
And the toll that it took. I mean, we're seeing it with teams already, right? Like the Denver Broncos lost Tim Patrick with a torn ACL. We lost Vince Beagle.
Yeah.
Is down with a torn ACL now. So he's going to be out for the season. And that's like his third major injury. Now he was fighting for a roster spot.
Yep. We were hearing good stuff about him. He's a veteran pass rusher. I forget. He's played for the Falcons. He's been on like a journeyman, but he was looking good in camp. And that's really unfortunate because our last podcast, we talked about wanting Justin Houston back. So he's back. So that's good news for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really looking forward to seeing how this guy fits into our pass rush rotation, because we needed that one, and we needed two more guys in the pass rush, and he was, flashing. So it's unfortunate that he fell down and he's out for the season. So,
and then
go ahead.
I was going to say we released Derek Wolfe too with an injury settlement.
In those injury settlement. Yep. So I think we still, even though we got Houston, I think we still need, unless Tyus Bowser comes back and is ready, which I would be surprised because he tore his Achilles in January. So I don't know. I feel like that's a pass rushes is still a need for us with that most recent injury.
I kind of look at this a couple different ways. I agree with you. I think that the pass rush is still kind of a concern, right? Even though, Odafe Owe is looking pretty sweet at camp too, but he's just one guy, right? And
Travis Jones is looking.
Travis Jones has gotten a lot of hype. Yeah, absolutely. Michael Pierce was talking about him and how he thought he was I think he literally said, he's like, I have no idea how this guy went in the third round.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, that's very strange to me because when he plays, he's doubt. He's a bit of a problem, right? Yep. So Michael Pierce, by the way, been balling out. He had his personal thing that was going on. We still don't really know what that is, and I'm not really going to push to find out what it was because it's none of my business anyway. But he's been having a pretty good camp. I think the thing that helps our pass rush a little bit is how bombadilio our secondary is, Our secondary now with Kyle Fuller, Pepe Williams, Demary, a guy who I wasn't like too stoked about coming out of the draft. I was kind of like, yeah, he's a really good tackler. He can keep people in front of him. I don't know about coverage. They used him as a nickel down there in Houston.
Kind of small. He's a small guy.
They love him though. In the lot, they really like Pepe. They like him a lot.
His personality is electric, man. He's all over the field. He's making some good splash plays, and he plays bigger than he looks. So I'm really excited about him too.
And of course, like I'm going to mention Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, those guys. Marcus Williams is a made guy. Kyle Hamilton, who, mixed reviews. I don't know. I think he's a lot of the plays, like you were saying, the plays where he gets burnt or whatever, it's kind of hard because the receivers really had an advantage there.
And he's not going to be lining up against receivers in the slot.
No.
I mean, he's going to be all, don't get me wrong, he's going to be all over the field. He might line up against, tight ends that are out wide or something like that. But he's not going to be lining up against, 5'9" slot receivers in the, with no, and like you said, the one-on-one drills have the defensive backs in a huge disadvantage. So but he got burnt. It's a learning lesson. I mean, not everybody gets burnt. We're seeing videos of Tavon Diggs for the Cowboys getting burnt back to back against Lamb and obviously Lamb and an undrafted free agent. So I mean, it's just that one-on-one drills has the defensive backs in a very bad position. But Kyle Hamilton bounced back the next practice. He was in, he had a couple pass breakups against Likely and somebody else. So, and he's a dude. That's one thing that stood out to me is he's a big dude to be a safety. He's massive.
He looks big on film.
Yeah.
Like he's tall, massive, long. Yeah. I mean, he looks kind of like a basketball player, to be honest with you.
He does.
So, I'm not out on him by any means. I would like to see him play preseason games to just see what he looks like against other competition. But between him, Marcus Williams, Kyle Fuller's out there. Jalen Armour Davis has had a decent. I mean, he looked good. He's looking good through camp, and even during the OTAs, I thought he looked pretty good as well. So my point basically with this is if the secondary is as good as people are making it out to be, it's going to buy time. Quarterbacks are going to take a lot longer to dissect what's going on offense. And that may give the pass rush a little bit of time, right, to get to the quarterback, more time than they've had in previous years, because our secondary last year was just like left a lot to be desired. I'll just say that, right? If we've reloaded and retooled with the secondary, it may help the pass rush.
Oh, definitely.
Give him an extra couple seconds where the quarterback's got to think, oh, fuck, this is my first, second, third read are off. I can't go there. Maybe it helps the pass rush a little bit. Maybe those guys get to the quarterback a little bit faster, and maybe it counteracts. It at least does something until Ajabo can get healthy, Bowser can get healthy, and maybe, Justin Houston is still there. I thought he had a decent season last year. Calais Campbell's still in the lineup. So I don't know. I don't know whether that counteracts some of that concern that I have.
Having a solid, if no one's getting open in the secondary, wide receiver wise, that just means the QB is going to have to hold the ball longer, which allows the pass rush to get to him.
Yeah.
So they definitely help each other out, pass rush and secondary. And like you said, our secondary is loaded, especially when we get Peters back. Marlon Humphrey is out on the field. He's looking good. I saw him every time Bateman was on the one-on-one drills. Bateman and Humphrey were like following each other. They always wanted to go against each other. So that was good to see.
Yeah.
Bateman got the one I saw. Bateman got Humphreys on a quick slant across the middle. Like I said, it's hard to defend that when you're one-on-one with a receiver. But yeah, I mean, overall, everything I saw was good. The bad thing is I didn't see. I wanted to see Ben Cleveland out there because he's a monster. Because I remember seeing him last year at the stadium practice, and being real excited about him. He's just a big dude, and he could really help our offensive line. But he didn't get onto the practice field until this previous week because he was failing the conditioning tests. So he missed the first 4 training camp practices, which really puts him in the back seat of the right guard competition, which that's another position that the offensive line that we're looking at, that there's a lot of, question marks, with Stanley. Who knows how long is Stanley going to be out? I think Juwan James is, practicing in his position, left tackle.
You know who else is?
Who?
Daniel Falele.
Oh yeah, Falele. Yep, the rookie.
It's interesting.
Yep.
I mentioned that when we were talking about the Steelers. I was like, if TJ Watt comes from that side, just move Falele over to left tackle.
Yeah.
Right. So now they're experimenting with that, and I'm like, interesting.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so that's good to see with him. And then Moses is in the right tackle spot, and obviously Zeitler is in the right guard spot.
Yeah.
And Linderbaum is center. Cologne's going to be there now that Linderbaum is out for a week or two. Yeah. But yeah, that left guard spot, they're interchanging with Powers and Tyree Phillips. So that's going to be an interesting competition. And like I said, Cleveland was, in my eyes, a favorite there, but with him missing basically a whole week of training camp for being out of shape, essentially, that doesn't bode well for him.
No, it doesn't. And then you got Patrick McCarry too, who might be
yep.
he might be fighting for I think he's going to play more center if Linderbaum is hurt. Tristan Cologne is there as well. I don't know, man. It's looking failing conditioning tests. That's like a really annoying thing to do. Yeah. You're like, I don't want to harp too hard. I'm not a professional athlete, right? I'm not like in that particular world, but it's sort of just like, and to continue to fail them too, showing up to camp out of shape. Guys do it all the time. I just wish we had that. I just wish that was taken care of in the off season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say on that.
I just hope one of the veteran players, got on them.
Right. Yeah. And that's because Ben Cleveland, how many years is this is his second year?
This is his second year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but the likeliness he's going to take that spot now, probably pretty slim, which is unfortunate because Ben Cleveland had a lot of hype when he came out for the draft as well. I remember that. Let's see. Anything else that stands out in training camp so far? I want to talk about our preseason game coming up against the Tennessee Titans. So we have a streak that nobody cares about. I kind of like this time of year too, as a Ravens fan, because I like the streak that we're currently on. When it ends, and it will end at some point, I'm gonna be kind of sad about it. It's like nobody cares about it except us and Kyle Brandt. Kyle Brandt seems to care. Like he went on a long rant last year during the preseason about how amazing the streak was, and all the other hosts are just like, "Okay, dude, all right." Like he really nerded out about it. He's like, you guys don't understand what's happening. Like second and third stringers are continuing a trend. We haven't lost a preseason game since 2015.
Yeah.
And our first game is we are home against the Tennessee Titans for the preseason. A lot of starters are going to sit. So I know Lamar is sitting. Mark Andrews is going to sit. Justin Houston is going to sit. And Marlon Humphrey is going to sit.
And Marcus Williams too.
Marcus Williams is also going to sit. Yeah, that's correct. So we're not going to have our starters on the field. So I guess, we're going to see a little Tyler Huntley action, which is interesting because he was getting some hype last year. Obviously the win-loss record doesn't really do it justice, but people were really questioning whether or not another team should take a look at him. So it'll be exciting to see him on the field again, but I hope they win in the sense that I want to keep this streak going. I'm kind of like, I know no one gives a shit. It doesn't really matter, but I kind of like it. I like that year in and year out, our second and third string guys show up and give a shit and and pound other teams as second and third stringers, right?
Yeah. No, I just had a conversation with my brother-in-law who's a Dallas fan. Because he works with some Ravens fans, and he said that they were really bragging about the undefeated preseason thing. In my eyes, I'm not going to go around bragging about an undefeated preseason game because it's,
Right.
It's practice. It's practice. Right. But I'd rather be winning them than losing them. And it shows that our coaching staff can coach up players to win. And it sets an example for a winning culture, So it's definitely, I mean, I take pride in it. I mean, I'd rather see us win preseason games, whether it's our first string, second string, third string. The fact that guys are, pumped up enough and they're fighting for a job and the coaches are rallying around these players and they're making decisions to win and they're winning. That's a good sign. That just shows how good of an organization we are all around, from coaching, from top down, So yeah, I enjoy winning preseason games. It's fun. It's fun to see our backups and our draft picks win, and they get a sense of what that is and how it and what it takes to win in the NFL. And they can the players that do make the team, they can take that into the regular season. So building a winning culture is never a bad thing, in my opinion. Obviously, I think everybody would agree with that. Do our coaches take it more seriously? Do they prep more than other coaches? Maybe. I don't know. But I'd rather, I said it, I'll say it again. I'd rather win than lose. And I enjoy preseason games because we get a chance to see our younger guys on the field with the Baltimore Ravens for the first time. I'm really excited to see Kyle Hamilton. I'm really excited to see some of our undrafted rookie wide receivers. I'm excited to see Tyler Beatty, see how he does. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And Travis Jones, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he, disrupts that middle, being a defensive tackle. So yeah, I'm really excited to see all these guys play, and hopefully we get a win against. I don't know with Tennessee. I imagine maybe their rookie wide receiver will play, Traylon Burks, that they hopefully replaces AJ Brown. I imagine, I don't know who their backup. Oh, I wonder if what's that guy they drafted? Malik Harris. I wonder if he plays.
Yeah, probably will, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that'll be interesting to see, actually, I
think he's listed as the third string quarterback, so I'm sure he'll play. Because I mean, a lot of people were saying he was the most talented QB coming out of the draft, and he fell all the way to whatever round.
Second round, dude. I
thought it was further than that. I'll have to look at when did he? Yeah. What is it? Malik Harris?
Malik Harris. Let's look it up real quick. It went straight to Malik Harrison, which is hilarious. Of course, a Ravens fan. Let's see. That is not there. Okay. There's a Malik Harris. That's a German singer. After winning the national final, Germany 12 points. Went on to represent Germany in the Eurovision Song Contest 2022. I think that's the wrong Malik Harris.
Yeah, that's what popped up for me too. That's hilarious.
That's super strange. Football. Here we go. Hey, shout out to that guy for being successful as a German folk singer.
Heck yeah.
Where did he go? We're saying it's right, like Malik Harris, right? That's him. I can't find him.
Let's see.
Liberty.
Round 3, Malik.
Round 3.
Willis.
Oh, that's it's nice. Willis. God, dude. Jeez Louise. Well, that part's not making the cutting room floor. Golly. Okay, so you went to third.
Malik Willis, not Harris.
Whoops.
Yeah, because we have a Malik Harrison on our team, so that's probably where.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think I got it mixed up.
Our linebacker from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Drafted the same year of Patrick Queen.
Sorry, Malik.
Yeah, sorry. But Malik Willis, for the QB that was getting a lot of hype in the draft, fell to the third round, and Tennessee took him, and I think he's third on their depth chart. So I'm sure we'll see him play. So that'll be exciting to see what he looks like. So I'm overall next. Even though Lamar's not playing and a couple other of our big name stars aren't going to be playing. Oh, obviously Isaiah Likely is going to be. I'm really excited to see how he looks.
Yeah.
So there's tons to be excited about.
It's going to be a lot of basic packages right? So I don't expect them to throw the kitchen sink. It never is for the first preseason game because it's the first time you're really getting back on the field for a long time. So we're going to see a lot of basic stuff.
Yeah, and you don't want to reveal too much.
Right, exactly. But either way, I think it's going to be a good matchup. And of course, the recent history we have with the Tennessee Titans in general might make for some interesting, maybe some drama. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it too. It's always nice to see the streak get extended. I hope it does get extended. It'd be great to go another year. I think we smashed the previous record that the unofficial record that the Packers held or whatever from forever ago. We've already beaten that. So to continue that streak, I think it's going to be really exciting. I think we're good with that, right? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to say to the flock people?
Flock people, hey, we're going to have a healthy season coming up.
Agreed.
We are not rushing back any of our players that probably can play at this point in time, but we're taking it easy on them. JK, I know Ben's a little bit more pessimistic, it sounds like, with JK and Gus being ready for the first week, but I'm a little optimistic on that. I feel like the Ravens are just taking extra precaution, and I feel like they're gonna be ready for the first week, if not the second or third game. So I'm looking forward to seeing this offense full throttle with all our best players, because we were that was taken away from us last year. So we had a whole year delay of seeing JK in a starting role. That's going to be really exciting, and Gus being a 1B to JK's 1A, Gus Bus. So I'm excited about it, man.
That's your bold prediction. They're going to be ready for week 1.
That'll be my bold prediction. I don't know about Stanley. Ronnie Stanley is my worry, but I feel like everybody, Peters is going to be ready for week 1. Gus and JK are going to be ready for week 1. I'm not as optimistic about Ronnie Stanley. It's still bothersome that he's not out there after only playing 1 game last year. So he's been out of action for a while. Yeah,
it's been a long time.
I'm a little worried about that, but we'll see. They said that his ankle surgery went well, and there was some footage of him running in the off season, which was nice to see. But yeah, him not being out on the field yet kind of worries me. So we'll see.
Bold prediction for the Tennessee Titans preseason game.
Bold prediction for the preseason game.
I was going to say Odafe Owe gets a sack.
Okay. I was going to say Travis Jones has a strip sack fumble recovery.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think his number is 90. I think he took Brandon Williams' number. I'm not sure. But look out for big number 98, Travis Jones. I think he has a chance of being, I know we had our first 2 picks, big names in the first round. Our pick in the second round, who might not play for a while because of his Achilles. But I'm going to say Travis Jones has the best preseason of all the rookies. That's my bold prediction.
I like it.
Travis Jones is going to be all over the place.
Well, when you're getting compared to Chris Jones from Michael Pierce, that's nothing but a good thing. He mentioned that as a comp too, so I'm excited about that. Chad, it was awesome talking to you. It's been a while. And now that we've got a preseason game to evaluate and dissect here coming up next week, that's when Flock Squawk's going to come back. We'll just mention all the things that we saw in the preseason game. So look forward to that. Thank you to all of our new subscribers, 4 of them. 4 new subscribers since last podcast. Thank you so much for the support.
I know one of them's Christian, so shout out to Christian.
Hey, shout out Christian. Appreciate it. Appreciate you, brother. If I can speak English, I'll get it out. And yeah, we'll see you all next week after the preseason game. Caw, everybody.
I'll call.